My name is Margarete Ann Heber. I'm 65 years old, and I'm retired from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency in Washington, D.C. I had been talking to one of my former doctors about getting an endoscopy done along with my colonoscopy because my mother had gastric lymphoma and had been diagnosed at age 65, and I'm 66. He said, ask them, tell them about your history. So I did, and I went in for a colonoscopy and an endoscopy at the end of March of this year. And 2 weeks later, I got a phone call from my GI doctor saying, it's 3:00 in the afternoon. Can you come in at 4:30? I really need to talk to you. And at which time I said to her, what's wrong? And she said, you know that little spot that I biopsied? Well, it's adenocarcinoma. You have cancer. You have stomach cancer. And I said, what do we do now? And she said, I have to make some phone calls. So she called a colleague of hers up at Rutgers, who's a surgeon. And she said, I'm not the right person for this, but I know somebody who is. And she put me in touch with Dr. In. I went in and they thought they could remove it all by doing an endoscopy surgery. And I had that done at the beginning of June. It was a lot more intensive than I ever thought it was going to be. Really knocked me for a loop. I was really out of it for about 6 weeks, just in time to come back in and have Dr. In do the laparoscopy where she removed 70% of my stomach, because the tissue sample that came back from the endoscopy surgery said that the margins were clean at the surface but not at depth. So they needed to get rid of the rest of it. And the only way to do that after she went, I think, to the cancer board was to remove the majority of my stomach, all the lymph nodes around my stomach, and then resection everything. So I'm now under surveillance where I go back every couple of months. They do a CAT scan, they do blood work, and I go in and see the doctor and find out that I'm fine. The folks at Robert Wood Johnson University Hospital and Rutgers Cancer Institute were fabulous. I was well taken care of. My surgery was the first thing on a Thursday morning, and by 10 o'clock at night, I was sitting up in a chair and walking to the bathroom on my own. My daughter was scared beyond words because I'm the only parent she has, and Dr. In did a fabulous job of comforting her and saying, don't worry, honey, you and your mom and I are going to be fabulous friends by the end of this, and this will go on for a couple of years because we're going to keep checking up on her. I think the biggest thing about going through something like this is finding really good doctors. And I can't say enough about Dr. In. She's been fabulous. I'm looking forward to the next chapter of my life. My daughter and I are going on a Christmas cruise. We've never done a cruise like that. Our last vacation was 5 years ago, and it's time.